Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another edition of Onside SA. Paul is away this weekend, so joining us as usual is our regular super sub, Manning Rangers League winner Gavin. Thanks for coming in.
Good to be here.
Yep.
Find some winners for the boys.
Let's hope so. We kick off as normal with our last one standing competition. We had 17 guys going through last week. Unfortunately, Carl Edwards went missing with Southampton, and Trevor Furry, who had 2 picks, he went missing as well. We leave 15 guys left, and I'm going to give the guys a bit of a plug because they've gone 9 weeks, Gav. Can you believe it?
That's a phenomenal effort. So I think the guys are now running thin. Yep. They've got to start looking deep and who's playing at home. It's going to be a tough from Jan. And
yeah, it's not going to be easy. Our first guy is Brett Copens, one of Mark Curry's Investec men. Outstanding performance to go through 9 picks, and I'd have to say with the teams he's got still left, he's a slight favourite. Second on the list is Shane Backen, who owns Shona Lunga Fisheries. Likewise, Shane's done a brilliant job. Then a man who's in the clothing game, Georgie Salentes, well known in the racing game, one of Paul Lafferty's clients. Phil Giorgio, Let's Go Travel. Phil's a regular punter and a regular entry into the competition. Dave Goss from Dave Go Steel Construction. Now, Dave sponsored our last one standing, so Dave's still going. As well as Peter Manford, one of the Greybull boys who supports my value pick of the weekend, Stoke City. So Pete's going to be funking on his boys and also getting through. Mike Anderson has also survived at a Da Vinci clothing man. He's cruised through. And likewise, a man from Coastal Gas, Andy Craig, a good friend of a lot of people at Gold Circle, especially Paddy Loca. Trevor Furry, he died with one of these picks last week, but our leading KZN bookmaker, Trevor, is still going. And so is Dean Moody, one of our management staff at Gold Circle. Dean has squeaked through into round 10. One of Mpangeni's finest and a Mandine Park legend, Brian van Aswegen, known to Fuzzy, to a lot of people in the sporting fraternity. Fuzzy's still going. And so is Frankie Cullen, a golf mate of Lance Whiteford's. Mark Rees, one of our Westville entries. And a guy we went to school with, the Mansfield Durban City player, Tony Cass. Tony's still hanging in there, giving a great run. And Ricky Van Gaal, one of my mates from Browns Drift, who's as mad a Man United supporter as they is. His name is Ricky Blom, but because of his allegiance to Man United, the guys have labelled him Ricky Van Gaal. So guys, good luck, or break a leg if you're superstitious, and I'll speak to you. I'll be sending you your picks later on this morning, and have a good weekend. As usual, we go across to our UK correspondent. I've got Stevie Brahm in our UK office. Stevie, are you there?
Okay.
Morning, Steve.
Morning.
How's the weather? Has it improved since yesterday?
It has. It's just wet this morning.
Just
dark
wet.
and wet.
How was your evening with Paul last night?
Yeah, he's a happy bunny. We watched the Tottenham win at West Ham. So with a second, almost a second string team, but they played very well.
Okay, so Spurs. When last did Spurs win a trophy? Can you remember?
I think that you have to go back a few years for that. So
years or decades?
Well, certainly a major trophy, that's for sure.
Okay, Steve, we'll kick off with the El Clasico, Barcelona, Real Madrid. What do you think?
Well, I think it was. I think the tabloids have all sort of said humiliating, and I think ultimately, the final scoreline was. I thought. The first half it was all Barcelona. I thought Real came back into it for a short spell in the second half, and I think had 1 or 2 chances. But once Barcelona got the third, it was game over, and you can tell from the body language of Lopetegui that he knew time was up. I think he knew that before anyway, and I think this was just the final nail in the coffin for him.
Yeah, I was impressed. Everybody this side of the woods thought without Messi, Barcelona would struggle. But I saw that previous times when they had Neymar, when he was there, every time Messi didn't play, it was like him and Suarez were on a mission to prove that they were in the same class.
Yeah, and Suarez had a good. I think maybe he had a point to prove, and he did very well. And Coutinho, it was just at the end of the day, it was hard to believe that there hadn't been much to choose between the teams in the last few seasons. But Real just looked a shadow of the team that played last season.
Yeah, Steve, talking about Real, who do you think is going to get the job? I know Pochettino's been mentioned. Do you think
Well,
he'll...
I think Pochettino is something. You sort of just had this feeling that he could end up there one day. I just don't think it's going to be in the next week or so.
Yeah.
I think they're desperate to make a decision. They have to appoint somebody under the sort of Spanish rules. They can only have a caretaker for a very limited period. The papers this morning, interestingly, have got joint favourites of Roberto Martinez and Jose Mourinho.
Mourinho? Okay.
Maybe they're just sort of speculating with Mourinho, but it might suit both teams at this moment in time.
Yeah, I can understand Martinez. He had a good World Cup with Belgium, but I read yesterday the Belgium FA have turned it down. They said he's not available.
Well, I think the thing with Martinez is he hasn't really proven himself, at a major club. I mean, he did sort of well at Wigan,
yeah.
But and sort of okay at Everton. But he's obviously managing a lot of talented players at Belgium, and they did well, but they still haven't quite sort of got to the heights I think people would have expected. So I think that's a gamble for Real. But if it was offered and he had the opportunity, I'm sure he'd take it. But I think it is a poison challenge for anybody, because I think they are looking at a short-term appointment. But nobody, apart from Zidane, nobody has lasted more than 3 years. Or Mourinho, nobody's lasted in the last 40 years since Del Bosque was there. So, I think, unless even Zidane, 3 years, and I think he probably decided enough's enough.
Yeah, all the egos. And obviously the poor Lopetegui, he lost 50 goals with Ronaldo. So I think people shouldn't lose sight of that.
But it is telling. It's obviously without Ronaldo, who they really didn't replace, they just aren't the same team. There was a poll taken a few days ago by the Real Madrid supporters as to who was the worst performing player of the season, and they voted. Gareth Bale was voted. And you think, he was a hero with the Champions League only sort of 6 months ago.
Yeah, I just think it's easy to pick on Gareth Bale being a foreigner. The young Isco and Asensio have been invisible. I watch all their games. So Gareth Bale's an easy pick, but I agree, they have been struggling with that Ronaldo. Steve, on to obviously the saddest news over the weekend was the air crash at Leicester. How do you think the Leicester players will react at Cardiff? Now, I know it's a big game for Fulham this week.
It is a big game. Obviously they were scheduled to play during the week against Southampton in the EFL Cup, which was rightly postponed. It's going to be hard for them because obviously in the last few days, in the aftermath of the tragedy, obviously they've probably not been training much. It's been very distracting. It could go either way. Either they could just be very distracted by it and find it very, very difficult, or they're going to want to sort of raise their game and actually put on a show in memory of their chairman. So,
I think that'll be
a hard one to call.
Yeah, I think it'll be the second part, Steve. I think they'll roll the sleeves up and have a go. The last thing they want to do is go and roll over. I remember after Hillsborough.
I think I agree with that. I think they're going to want to play with a lot of pride and I think adrenaline. I think it'll sort of. I think it's a game that I'd be surprised if they lost.
Yeah.
I think there's either a draw or an away win there.
Yeah, I agree. As I said, I remember after Hillsborough, those Liverpool players came out. You could see it. They had something to prove. They were playing for loved ones and
for themselves, the fans. I think you're right. It's but it was a tragedy, and it sort of harks back to the sort of memory of Matthew Harding when he had a similar accident on his way back from Bolton at a night game many years ago.
Real tragic news. Talking about Liverpool, they're involved in the game of the week. How do you see the Arsenal-Liverpool game on Sunday?
Yeah, that's going to be a really good game. Obviously Arsenal, 11-match unbeaten run came to an end. Sorry, not unbeaten, but sort of wins in a row came to an end. They didn't play particularly well, I thought, at Palace on Sunday. Really didn't do enough, probably, to win the game. I think if Liverpool go and play with a bit of sort of attacking verve, I think that could be an away win.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I think that's the sort of game that. But it's certainly the way that Arsenal have been playing.
Yeah,
they score all their goals in the second half. So I think if Liverpool can get ahead in the first half, I think they could win that. Yeah,
I agree. Liverpool to score first, I think, is an absolute certain bet.
I just sort of feel that this is it'd be an interesting test for Emery. It's obviously he lost these two opening games against City and Chelsea, and obviously they're now playing sort of the next biggest team in the top three, and I think that's a test. So I think if Arsenal failed to win this, then I think that you'd see that they're going to be playing for sort of probably third or fourth place.
Yeah, I think more fourth. I think Chelsea, I watched them against Burnley, they were really impressive. I think the top three's fixed, obviously position-wise. Second and third, I think, as much as the Liverpool fans will fancy themselves to win it, I think City will be two. But then it'll be between Chelsea, Liverpool for second, and I think the rest will be for fourth, fifth and sixth. But I agree, I think Liverpool will be too good. Steve, on to your biggest game of the weekend, Fulham at Huddersfield.
It is. I mean, it's a must not lose game.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I'd love us to go there and win, but I have to say, since the Cardiff result, and obviously after last Saturday's very poor performance against Bournemouth, I'm getting a little concerned.
Yeah.
Up until then, we were sort of still playing our football and scoring goals, but it was. I think last Saturday against Bournemouth, it was just a very. I mean, he was trying to sort of do something different at the back, but it didn't work. And Bournemouth are a good side. I mean, they take nothing away from them. They deserve to win. We had sort of half chances, but we just make mistakes. We're making mistakes and getting punished for it.
I agree. That penalty, that Fonsu Mensah, he should have got fined a week's wages. That's disgraceful.
It was an unnecessary challenge. I mean, I think Callum Wilson was just going to the left. You just have to sort of push him a bit wider, and he wasn't going to score from there.
No.
And it was just. I guess the challenge of an inexperienced defender. And I think part of the issue that we have is he isn't playing. We've got no continuity in the back four.
Yeah.
And I think I was talking to an ex-professional at the club on Saturday, and he was saying to me that when he was at Fulham, players like to know that they are in the manager's best 11, and provided they do their job, they need a run. We haven't played the same team 2 games running, and I think you just need to do that. I mean, we play at the Etihad against Man City in the EFL Cup tonight. Personally, I would play the back four, certainly, that he wants to play at Huddersfield, and just let them have another game together.
True. Because, City are going to make changes, but they've got plenty of players. But I agree, you've got to get some formation sorted out.
Yeah, I'm not City. Look, City going to make changes, but if you look at the players who didn't start the other day against Tottenham, you've got Sane and Jesus. I mean, it's their second string are better than most teams' first 11. But I think we should play a strong team. I can't see the point in playing a load of kids, but definitely, I just think whoever he wants to play in the back, including the goalkeeper on Monday, he should give them a run out tonight and just let them get used to playing together.
No, I agree. Steve, on to the Championship. It's obviously heating up now. Stoke City, Middlesbrough. I see Middlesbrough knocked out Palace last night. You think Stoke can...
I mean, obviously Middlesbrough and Palace both rested armour players, but it sounded like it was a good performance. And the one thing Middlesbrough have got going for them is they have by far the best defence in the Championship. They've only conceded 8 goals in 15 games. I think that's going to be close. I think there won't be much in it, maybe 1 goal. But I fancy Borough to go there, either a draw or a 1 goal.
Yeah, I see the last 2 results weren't the best, Steve. They drew at home with Rotherham. So I've just got a funny feeling Stoke will cause an upset there, but it'll be tight.
Stoke want to do anything this season. These are the games they've got to start picking points up. I mean, obviously they're sitting just below halfway.
Yeah.
And for them to start catching the top few,
they've got to win these type of games.
But I just think Borough, they're a very hard team to beat.
Yeah.
I think that's probably drawn a few too many, but they are a hard team to beat.
Yeah, I agree. Tony Pulis always well organised, especially against his old team. Yeah. Steve, Notts Forest, they've come right against league leaders Sheffield United.
Yes, I mean that was, but they've still drawn too many games. Forest, I think that's again another team, very hard team to beat. Only 2 defeats in 15, but only 5 wins. So I think that that's going to be a tight game. Sheffield United are doing exactly what they did last season. They started off really well last season. They're scoring a lot of goals. They do concede, but they score goals. I think there'll be goals in this game. I think if Sheffield United go there and attack, I think, and that's the sort of game could go either way. I mean, it could be a home, it could be a draw and away win. I know I'm sitting on the fence. I think there will be goals. I just got a feeling if Sheffield really go for it, they could win that.
Okay, and last but not least is a Sunday game, Wigan at home against Leeds United.
Yeah, Leeds. Funny. I mean, Wigan had a surprising result. I mean, beating West Brom.
Yeah.
I think I really fancied West Brom there, and very surprising. I just think Leeds will do. I think Leeds, come back a bit stronger in the last couple of weeks. I think again it'll be close, but I think Leeds will just pit them up.
Okay. Steve, last but not least, I'll be heading over to see you shortly. South Africa, England at Twickenham. How do you see the rugby test going?
Well, I can't make excuses. England have obviously got a few injuries. We haven't, I guess, because the Southern Hemisphere teams have all been playing over the last few months. And I thought, having watched South Africa against the 2 games against New Zealand, I thought they were excellent. It's going to be a tough one. Love England to win, but I just got no idea what sort of team he's actually going to put out and how they're going to play together. So,
yeah, gonna go. That's close. Betting
England have got. This is a tough few weeks for them because for the first time in 3 years they're playing all the 3 big Southern Hemisphere teams.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So I think if England won one of those 3 games, I'd be quite pleased.
All right, Steve. Thanks very much for helping us on the show, and I hope to see you over the weekend.
Yep, we'll talk when you're over.
All right, Steve.
Good luck.
All the best.
Bye.
Thanks, Steve. Gav, just going back to El Clasico, did you watch much of it?
Just saw the goals, Budge. I think without Ronaldo, like you said, someone's got to get goals for them.
Yeah.
And the coach is under pressure straight away when you don't replace a player like that to get you 40, 50 goals a season.
Yeah.
They're always going to be up against it, and their coach, unfortunately, that's Real Madrid style. You're out if you don't win games.
Yeah. Talking about the replacement, I see Steve mentioned Mourinho. What do you think? What do you think about it? I've got a funny feeling what's going to happen, but how do you see it?
I'll be very surprised if Mourinho leaves. I think he's starting to turn the corner with United, if you can say that. I just don't see it. I don't see him going back to Real Madrid and trying to get them out. And if they are going back to Mourinho, I would think it's a bit of a desperation.
Yeah.
And it's not their style to get a coach who plays a defensive type of game. They want to be a free-flowing game. So Mourinho going back there, I think it's a little bit out there.
Yeah, so do I. I just think Mourinho is going to come after the end of the Champions League. If United get knocked out of the Champions League, I think he could be in trouble. If you get to the knockout stages, I think he'll be fine. He's actually starting to play more and more attacking players now.
Yeah, I think he's getting the team motivated again. I think they're trying to believe in what's gone. I mean, he's gone through a bump. I think it's mostly generated by the media.
Yeah.
The media are on top of him every time that he steps out onto the park. I mean, United's the big club, so everybody's wanting results.
Yeah.
But I think Champions League maybe gets 1-2 players in January and then we're up and running again. Okay. But he has to get. We
head on to the betting for the weekend at the Premiership. First game up, talking about Man United at Bournemouth, lunchtime kickoff. How do you see that going?
Well, again, it's one of those scenarios where he's away from home. He needs to get a result. He's starting to play attacking soccer, United, but now he gets to a team that can hurt you. They also score a lot of goals. And you don't want them to go back into their shell and becoming a defensive formation again. Yeah. He needs to keep going forward. And I think the last couple of games when they have gone forward, they've got results. So it's a tight game. A lot of people will be leaning towards the draw, but obviously being a Man United supporter, I would think we need to get past a team like this. Yeah, I think you'll set his stored up to have a go again. Matic in the midfield with the 5 boys bombing forward. I think there's plenty of goals in this game, as you say. Hopefully as United men. Well, I think one player that's starting to turn the corner is Martial.
Well, I
thought he was one of those players that would be on the selling list to get out of the club. But I think more games he plays, I think the better he'll get and more confidence he will get. Yeah. And this French player is a little bit temperamental, so you got to nurse them all the time. Yeah, replacing Sanchez, who's done nothing. He's done a good job, you're right. Cardiff, Leicester. Now, just speaking of Steve, this obviously we've been in games where it's not, you don't really want to play, but you got to. How do you see this, Gav? Well, I'm thinking that the game's been played away from home. It was played at home for Leicester. I think there'd be a lot of mourning in the crowd, and there'd be a lot of the atmosphere would be a bit dull. I think taking the team out to Cardiff might be a blessing for them. Get away from the stadium. But Cardiff can't score goals. They're not offering anything, and I think the way Leicester's been playing, they should get past this one. Yeah. Everton, Brighton. I was impressed with Everton last week against United. I think he's coming right, especially against the lesser teams. They don't get beat at home too often anyway. I think it's 2-13. Too good for Brighton? Not really. The boy up front for Everton, Charlison, he's a good player, the Brazilian. But I think Brighton now have got 2 in a row, 3 in a row. Their confidence is boosted again. Their striker up front, he keeps scoring, and he's nearly my age. But they seem to be knitting together again. I think Brighton could get something out of this game. I think maybe a draw for them would be a good result. But it'll be a lot of hard work for them to get that result. I just think defensively Everton look a little bit better. And I think Everton, of all the teams, I think they're the best bet in the Premiership, at a price anyway, 6-10. Not that it's a great price, but it's better than your 1-4s. Now, Newcastle lost all 5 games at home this year.
Can they get off? Can they do something against Watford?
Yeah, the Geordies, I mean, they've got 55,000 people cheering them week in and week out. They've got to get a result sooner or later. But looking at Watford, they're just surprising everybody week in and week out. They're scoring goals. The boy up front has lost a bit of weight. He looks like he's hungry to play and prove. So, again, I'm leaning towards the draw because I can't see Newcastle winning.
Yeah, I watched the Newcastle-Southampton game last week. Jeez, it was terrible. You know, just couldn't believe what I was watching. Defensively, they're okay, Newcastle, but when you've got to go forward, it's a different ball game. And, you know, Watford, Troy Deeney up front, you know what's going to happen. A tough game, I agree, a draw, a big player. West Ham, Burnley. Now, Burnley's last 2 games, they got beat 5-0 by Man City, 4-0 by Burnley on the weekend. West Ham stuck me out of my bed last week, drawing at Leicester. Mark Noble's not playing. What do you think?
I think West Ham have got quite a few injuries at the moment.
Yeah.
The Burnley side, the confidence has been dented the last couple of weeks, but I wouldn't take too much losing 5-0 to Man City.
Yeah.
Man City's going to destroy a lot of teams this year, and you just got to put that one under the carpet and bury it and say, let's move on from here. West Ham with the injuries, Burnley, I'm leaning to the draw big time in this game.
I agree. You know, I think there'll be a few boys in our competition on West Ham. I think this is a funny game. On to the second page, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Well, as you know, I'm not really a Liverpool fan. We're a lot of boys around the corner who are Liverpool staunch. But I make Liverpool the best bet of the weekend. I look at the results that's coming for both teams. Arsenal 1-7, drew 1. Liverpool 1-8, drew 2. Nice. You would think that this game has got draw written all over it. But I think there'll be goals, and I think Liverpool will get them.
Yeah, I agree. I like Liverpool. The only thing I worry about is, you know, you get these teams that are having runs. Arsenal have been a little bit fortunate of late. You know, they should have been 2-0 down against Crystal Palace, and they ended up getting a handball for the equaliser. Superb free kick. There'll be goals in this. I agree. I think Liverpool will win, but
yeah, I think Liverpool
be careful.
Liverpool got too much pace in the game. You know, analyse the teams going through. Arsenal back for me as their weak link. Like you say, they've been a little bit iffy going forward and getting the odd goal when, you know, the game could have been heading in another direction. Yep. Liverpool are proving that they're a good side this year. They're moving forward. They've got a lot of confidence in their team. Their pace in their team is what's really getting Liverpool going. I think there's a lot for them to close the gap on Man City, but Liverpool are the danger team this year to watch. They are the team to watch this year.
Yeah, I agree. Liverpool for me as well. Now, Wolves have lost a couple of games on the spin. I was at Labella with Charlie White and Henry Nordia, and I watched the second half against Brighton. How they lost that game, I don't know. You know, Tottenham, poor result on Monday. I know the pitch was terrible. Well, they got outplayed by Man City, which is not a problem. They won last night with a I wouldn't say great team, but their second stringers. You think they're 12-10?
I think Wolves are a very difficult team to beat at home. I think that their points are going to come from home. All the teams that get promoted, they've got to take those points that aren't off at home. Spurs, a little bit confidence is a little bit down. Good side Spurs. They rested a few players. You can see them on the bench the other night sitting and watching. This game for me is also heading towards a draw. I can't really separate them because Spurs are away from home. If Spurs were at home, I would be saying you have a full go. But this Wolves team just got something about them. I don't know if it's the manager that's instilling the discipline and they play. But this game too could be heading for a draw. Yeah,
I agree. It's be a tight game. I fancy Spurs are the two teams. You know, it's their third game in 6 days. That was the only problem, and I wondered why it wasn't put on a Sunday. But they got a Champions League game against PSV Eindhoven on Tuesday. But he rested. I had a look at his team last night. Yeah, he rested all the guys that played on Monday. He rested. But of the two teams, I like Spurs. Man City, how many will they score against Southampton?
Yeah, just high on goals. I think this is one of those games again where Man City are going to put 3, 4, 5 past you. Yeah. Just move on. You don't want to go there and just park the bus and try and defend and then you concede late in the game. Yeah. If you want to have a go at Man City, have a full go. Get beat 4 or 5, at least you had a go at them. Yeah. But you sit back and get beat.
I think you'll sit back to try and lesser the score because goal difference could come into it, especially late on with Southampton. Yeah. If there is a bet to have on that particular game, I saw 7-10 Man City to win both halves. I don't see Southampton scoring.
I don't see
so Man City score. If you are keen on that type of bet, that's the way I would go. Now Chelsea in form, local derby or London derby with Crystal Palace.
The Crystal Palace weren't too bad last week. Yeah. I mean, they had quite a few chances early in the game, but as the game progresses and they don't get the goal, they seem to get a little bit of panic in their style of play. where Chelsea are just free-flowing. The boy Barkley is playing exceptionally well now. I thought he was being a little bit arrogant, saying he needs to be in the England team, and he hadn't done anything up to there. But watching him closely over the last couple of weeks, he's really firing. I think Chelsea looking really good. Talking about the top three, I think they could be the third team in the top three, behind
I think they're definitely in this. They're definitely third best or second best. They'll be, there's the top three are clear. Yeah, I agree. I think Palace may score. I think it's a 2-3, 4-5-1 game to me. Now, the last game is the biggest game of the week, especially down at the bottom. Huddersfield-Fulham. Now, Fulham, the last 4 games, Gav, they've conceded 18 goals, as opposed to a Huddersfield team. They haven't scored in their last 7 home league games.
If you look at the stats once again, it's just ringing out for a draw.
Yeah.
So I see 2 teams having a full go at each other. This is going to be a war. I think the guys are going to go out there and really try and get a result. I mean, Huddersfield, if they want to start surviving and trying to look like they can survive, they need to win a game like this.
Yeah.
2 championship teams that have come up. I think Huddersfield really have to dig deep in this game. I think maybe Huddersfield could win it 1-0 because they're the home team.
Yeah,
it's a tight game.
Who takes their chances? It's going to be a direct. It's going to be a direct. On to the championship, where we'll start off Aston Villa Bolton. I think Aston Villa, it's a Friday night kickoff. I think Aston Villa will be too good for Bolton. Blackburn, QPR. Now, Blackburn at home are going well. They've only lost once at home, and that was to Sheffield United, whereas QPR have come right. I think a draw a big player in that game. Now, Brentford's manager, Dean Smith, he went to Aston Villa. Subsequently, they've lost 2 games, but their last game, they're unlucky against Norwich City. I think Brentford will be too good for Millwall in a London derby. Derby County got beat 3-2 last night by Chelsea. I worry about this game. Birmingham are unbeaten in 11. Going to a Frank Lampard team who played his best team last night. I've got a feeling there's going to be an upset in that game. Birmingham or a draw at Derby County. West Brom, who've buried me in the last couple of weeks, are at a Hull City side who are struggling. If they can't beat Hull City at home, then their chances of automatic promotion will be severely dented. Ipswich, who replaced their manager, Paul Lambert's taken over, the ex-Norwich manager. He's gone in against my beloved Preston. Preston, we're unbeaten in 6. I think we can get a result, but never easy at Ipswich, especially under a new manager. Notts Forest, I disagree with Steve. Notts Forest are going well. I think they'll beat Sheffield United. If you're looking for an outsider win and draw bet, Notts Forest to me, I think will put one over Sheffield United. Now Reading as well, under Paul Clement. They aren't going too bad. Bristol City away from home. They haven't won in 7, so I don't see them winning this game. So Reading in a draw for me. Rotherham, the only chance of staying up is their home form. Away from home, I think they've taken 1 point from the 7 league games. Swansea are a funny team, but don't score many goals. I fancy Rotherham in the draw against Swansea. Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich is the big game for me in the championship. Norwich have been, I think they've won 7 of the last 9 games, against a Sheffield Wednesday team that concede for fun. I think both teams will score, but I think Norwich of the 2 teams. I fancy Stoke City. A lot of experience in their team. Darren Fletcher, Joe Allen and the guys. If they want to get back into the championship playoff hunt, they've got to beat a Middlesbrough team who beat Crystal Palace last night. I fancy Stoke at 14-10. The last game's a Sunday game. Wigan, second best home record. Played 7 at home, won 5 and drawn 2. Leeds going well, but I think a draw a big player in that game. On to the Telkom knockout. Baraka versus Sundown. 3 games on Saturday, 1 game on Sunday. Gab, even money Sundowns?
I thought this was maybe the bet. Baraka always flat to deceive, but I think Sundown's too much class. I think it's a nice competition for them to win, take their mind off the league table for a while. Sundown's too good at even money.
Yeah, we're fortunate against Chipper United last weekend. Chipper, Eric's team, had a lot of chances, but good team, Sundowns, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, the Amazulu Orlando Pirates game has been played at the Moses Mabhida. And we have a lot of rain in Durban. Hope the surface is great. Amazulu spring a surprise?
No. Amazulu flattered to deceive. I can't back them with any confidence. I look at them every week and they might get a result, but not for me. I think Orlando Pirates coming off beating Chiefs, I think their confidence will be high. They'll come into town with a bit of swagger. Yeah. I think they'll want to beat Amazulu quite comfortably. Like you say, a lot of rain in Durban, and I think it's going to continue through the weekend. Yeah. So be careful, watch the conditions.
For me. Okay, Bidvest Wits, that's a team he backed to win the Telkom. Beat a goal, Shah Maritzburg.
Yeah, definitely Wits. I think Gavin's got the boys playing again. He's got a bit of confidence in the team. I think Wits will come to town and win this one.
Okay, and the last game's also in Durban at the Mozambique Stadium. Chiefs haven't beaten SuperSport the last 10 meetings. Is this your chance?
Again, I mean, coming into Durban with a big field, wet conditions, or hopefully it dries out. SuperSport always difficult to beat. I think this could go towards the draw, or one of them winning 1-0.
Yeah, if ever there's an upset in the round, I think SuperSport sure won. On to our soccer exotics, where we start off with the soccer 6. I've gone win and draw 5 games, and I've banked at Barcelona. I start off the first game, I've gone Mamelodi Sundowns, win and draw against Barocca. I've gone Real Madrid, who I can't trust under a caretaker manager, win and draw against an informed Real Valladolid side. I've gone the draw on Orlando Pirates against Amazulu. I've gone Valencia, who've drawn all 5 of their home league games this year at home against Girona. I've gone Bidvest Wits, win and draw at Maritzburg, and I bank at Barcelona. Should be too good. If you want to halve your bet, obviously bank at one of the teams.
Yeah, no, I think Real Madrid's the right one there to go against them at the moment. Yeah, you can't trust them at the moment, so that'll be the tricky one.
I agree. On to the Premiership one, I've gone Leicester, win and draw at Cardiff. You know, I think that I just don't see them getting beat in that game. I think Everton will beat Brighton. I've gone the field with Newcastle and Watford. Likewise, West Ham United and Burnley. I've banked Liverpool to beat Arsenal. And I've thrown the draw in with Spurs. Win and draw, 2-1-6. On to our soccer 10. I've gone Leicester, win and draw at Cardiff City. I've banked Everton to beat Brighton. West Brom to beat Hull City. I've gone the field with Newcastle and Watford. I've thrown the draw in between Norwich City at Sheffield Wednesday. The second page, I've gone the field with West Ham and Burnley. I've gone Blackburn Rovers win and draw at home against QPR. I've banked Liverpool to beat Arsenal. Look for the upset in Stoke to beat Middlesbrough. And I've gone Tottenham win and draw at Wolves. Likewise, if you want to halve your bet, bank one of the teams.
If I had to add a team in there, I think I'll probably take Wolves just to go the extra.
Yeah.
Add a few extra rand if you can.
If you can, okay. And on to the soccer 13, the really difficult one. Our usual 5 bankers and 8 win and draws. I've banked Liverpool to beat Arsenal. Leicester win and draw at Cardiff City. Everton at home to beat Brighton and Hove Albion. I've got Newcastle win and draw at home against Watford. West Ham win and draw against Burnley. Blackburn Rovers win and draw at home against QPR. I've banked Brentford to beat Millwall. I've gone Preston win and draw at Ipswich Town. I've banked Notts Forest to beat Sheffield United. I've gone Norwich City win and draw at Sheffield Wednesday. I've banked Stoke to beat Middlesbrough. And I've gone Derby win and draw at home against Birmingham City. And Reading win and draw at home against Bristol City, 435. On to my bets for the weekend. The Premiership quad, I've gone Everton to beat Brighton. I've gone Liverpool to beat Arsenal and over 2.5 total goals in the game. And I've gone over 2.5 goals in the Bournemouth Man United and Cardiff Leicester, 2,300 to 200. On to the Championship, where I've taken a nice juicy treble. I've gone Brentford to beat Millwall. I've gone Notts Forest to beat Sheffield United, and I've gone Stoke City to beat Middlesbrough, 2,600 to 200. I'll win and draw 5, which I've done this week. I've gone Burnley not to get beat at West Ham. Likewise, Notts Forest at home against Sheffield United. I've gone Reading to get a positive result against Bristol City. I've gone Wigan at home on Sunday against Leeds United not to get beat. And I think SuperSport United won't get beat in 90 minutes by Chiefs. 2,400 to 200. On to our both teams to score 5. I've gone Cardiff Leicester, Chelsea Crystal Palace, Huddersfield Fulham, Sheffield Wednesday Norwich, and Wigan Leeds. 3,500 to 200. Nice 17.5 to 1 odds. On to the Spanish omelette, as Laf would call it. I've gone Espanyol to beat Atletico Bilbao. I've gone Getafe to beat Huesca. And I've gone both teams to score in the local derbies between Eibar Alaves and Villarreal Levante, 2,800 to 200. And our Collis King 6 on Ixa. I've gone Everton to beat Brighton. I've gone Brentford to beat Millwall. I've gone Glasgow Celtic to beat Hearts. I've gone Espanyol to beat Athletic Bilbao. I've gone Juventus to beat Cagliari. And I've gone Borussia Mönchengladbach to beat Fortuna Düsseldorf. Gav, how do you see it?
Yeah, looking like some tough games this weekend, but also some good standout bets.
Okay.
I think some of those bets there, the Spanish Omelette looks like a decent bet, and your 6 on Nixa looks like a decent bet. It's good value at 25.
Premiership, who are you going for?
Premiership, I think Liverpool are the best bet of the weekend. I really think it's a big game, but I think Liverpool will step up and win that game, and that'll show their title credentials that they're on track to go close.
Okay.
In the Championship, I think West Brom and Brentford, I think you echo the sentiments as well. I think West Brom a little unlucky last week.
Yeah.
And Brentford too at home. I think they're tough to beat at home. I think that could be the way to go. Local soccer, Sundowns and Wits University, I think you should get about 4.5 to 1 for the double. I think Sundowns are a very good side. I think they're the only team that really passes the ball around.
Yeah, class
And Wits, Gavin's got them going, so I think that's the double local.
Let's hope so. Every week, Paul's asked me to give my best bet and my value bet. The first week we had 100 Rand, and I put it on Spurs at 8 to 10. Last week, I put it on Man City at 9 to 10. This week, I've looked, and while I think Liverpool will win, I'm putting the whole lot. We've got 250 Rand going forward. I've taken 150 to 250 Everton to beat Brighton. And as far as my value bet goes, I think at 14 to 10, Stoke look a good bet, in my opinion, to beat Middlesbrough. From our on-site SA soccer show, Gavin Radford. Gav, thanks for
Butch.
coming in.
Nice to be here.
Have a good punting weekend.